The first episode of It, Welcome to Derry, has finally premiered, and we were all impressed by the level of the series. But many questions also remained. Did the children really die? And how did the production create that impressive monster baby? These are questions we are going to answer. Today on Charlietales, I'll tell you all the curiosities and secrets from the first episode of It, Welcome to Derry. Ready? Let's begin. At the start of the series, we saw the appearance of a horrible amorphous baby with wings. But how was it created? The production revealed that it was all 100% digital. However, thanks to behind-the-scenes footage, we could see that there was also a real baby doll. This was used to guide the actors during the theater scenes so they would know where to look and how to react. Later, the digital baby was simply added. Why did the production choose a baby as the monster that eliminates Maddie? Analyzing it a bit, I think it represents destroyed childhood. And this trauma represents Maddie, who is a boy abused by his parents and who has some kind of growth delay. That's why we see him using a pacifier as if he were still a baby. This can't be a coincidence. Remember that It likes to use the worst fears and traumas of each victim. So the monster isn't a baby for no reason. When Maddie escapes from town, we can see a sign that says, Welcome to Derry, and then a lumberjack named Paul Bunyan appears. This is the same lumberjack we saw in It, Chapter 2. It was a statue that came to life and attacked Richie Tozier. In fact, the series also shows us a newspaper with an article about how this statue will be built very soon. The series is subtly telling us the origin of several elements from the movies. Aside from the children, the episode has another main character, Leroy Hanlon. He is a respected high-ranking soldier. He arrived in Derry, chosen for a secret government mission. He is the grandfather of Mike Hanlon, one of the kids from the movies. In the books, Leroy had significant encounters with It. Of course, in the movies, we could see the older version of this man, who knew a lot about the darkness in this town. The series will tell us about his experiences. There's an important scene when some hooded men attack Leroy in his bedroom to extract information about the secret project he's working on. But Leroy says nothing. I have a theory that these attackers are actually part of the same army, and that this was just a test to see if Leroy would be willing to die to keep the project secret. That's why they never shot him. To me, it was a test. When Maddie gives Lily a bracelet, we can notice it's a turtle. This is a clear reference to Maturin. In Stephen King's universe, Maturin is the turtle that created the universe. It's a benevolent entity, and its eternal rival. In fact, in that scene, Maddie tells Lily that turtles bring good luck. This is a reference to the end of the episode. When the monster baby attacked, it killed all the children except her. It's as if the turtle somehow protected Lily. There's another reference to Maturin at the school. Here we see someone wearing a turtle costume for a safety campaign. It says the phrase, duck and cover. This was a real US campaign during the nuclear war era. But aside from that, the campaign again seems to reference the end of the episode. When the attack happened at the theater, Lily survived because she ducked and covered, just as the turtle said. The rest of her friends ran, and that's why they were caught by the monster baby. In the theater, the children are tormented by a vision of Maddie, who blames them for his death. Of course, this isn't Maddie, but Pennywise, who is imitating his appearance. The monster does this to make the children feel guilty, and thus awaken their fear. This is the same technique the clown used in the first movie when he imitated Georgie's appearance to torment his brother Bill. At the beginning, we met a boy who could twist his eyes. This reminds us of how Pennywise the clown did it in the movies. As an extra fact, this effect wasn't made with CGI. Actor Bill Skarsgård can actually twist his eyes. This was very uncomfortable for the production members. Here you can see a picture of how he did it to scare actor Bill Hader. The episode reveals that Teddy has a Jewish family, and his last name is Joris. This is a clear connection to Stan Joris, one of the kids from the movies. Stan Joris was Jewish. With this context, I'm sure Teddy was Stan's uncle, and the older brother we see here will be Stan's father in the future. Everything is connected. At the military base, we're introduced to a man named Dick Halloran. This character is extremely important in Stephen King's books. First of all, Dick Halloran is a major character in The Shining. We saw him in Stanley Kubrick's fame. He was the one who taught Danny to control the power of the shine. In that story, he was already older. Now in Welcome to Derry, we have his younger version. In the books, he has contact with Pennywise and uses the power of the shine at some point in the story. I'm sure we'll see that in the series. In the school bathrooms, we can see a heart with the name Alvin Marsh. This is the name of Beverly's father in the original movies. Remember that he used to abuse Beverly. It seems this dark character had fans when he was in high school. With this context, we can infer that he's at school during the events of Welcome to Derry, so we might see him harassing other girls, or something like that. When Teddy's family is having dinner, the father says that Germans made lamps out of human skin. Later, we even see how Teddy is tormented by one of these lamps. This seems to be a reference to Ed Gein, the butcher of Plainfield. This criminal was known for creating objects from the skin of his victims. Among those objects were lamps. If you want to know more about Ed Gein, Netflix recently released a series about him, and we already made several videos on this channel analyzing the monster. When Maddie is killed by the monster baby, we can see his pacifier flying out the window and ending up in Derry's sewers. This represents Maddie's wishes. The pacifier flies as if trying to escape from Derry, but in the end, it ends up in the deepest part of the town. You can't escape this place. Several times we can see Teddy constantly reading comics. These hide several interesting references. Here we see a Flash comic, which seems to be a reference to the series director, Andy Muschietti. Not long ago, he also directed the awful Flash movie for the cancelled DC universe. In another scene, Teddy reads a Batman comic. This is another reference to the director. Andy Muschietti is currently chosen to direct the next Batman movie for the new DC universe. For the car scene, the production created a set with a digitally projected background, so it wasn't a real street. Here we can see the car in question, which was moved by an artificial system to create the swerves. It was a combination of practical and digital effects. Now let's go to the important question. Did the children really die, or was it all a dream? The reality is that the children were 100% killed. It wasn't an illusion or a trick. I can guarantee this because, at the end of the episode, we see interviews with the actors, and the one who plays Phil said he would have loved to last much longer in the series. He didn't expect his character to be eliminated so soon, so yes, it's confirmed that the children are gone. We'll see new protagonists in episode 2. That's all for today. If you liked the video, you'd really help me out by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also, remember to subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.